or the taste of rum, many of the things you like to make to eat, rum cake, whatever. There is a little-known controversy that's taking place in the Caribbean that has made its way to Washington, and it has drawn attention to an election that is generally speaking, at least not paid attention to in the continental United States, but is certainly now, because of the furor that it's created in Congress, has drawn attention to the current race for governor, as the incumbent is being challenged by a challenger. It is a rematch from the election for governor 2 years ago. Joining me now is the challenger for that race, Mr. Kenneth Mapp. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you? Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, before we get to this, the so-called rum wars, the number one issue on the Virgin Islands may have some relation to alcohol, but it is certainly not inclusive of it, and that is the crime rate that has skyrocketed on the Virgin Islands in the last several years.
That's correct. We've had a phenomenal amount of violent crime and homicide in the local community, and it's driven by any number of things, whether it's gang, turf battles, lack of opportunity, drug wars, and for us, with about 110,000 people, we're about 60 homicides this year, the highest we've been in our history. So the campaign this year centers on this whole issue of crime and violence. When I ran in 2006 for governor, the centerpiece of my announcement and the campaign then was this whole issue of dealing with the crime problem and the wave to come. It was not as violent then as it is now, and the need to really start investing at an early age in our young people and our kids, and to steer them into really a positive direction in life, and to invest significant resources in our law enforcement community and the prosecutorial arm of our local Department of Justice.
This will automatically bring me to this deal that was struck with the Diageo company, in which would bring between $100 and $200 million to the island. You've gone on record to oppose that because of you said that it would take opportunities away from the less fortunate. How would you do that? Where would you get the resources from to be able to pull that off without that money?
Well, first of all, the Diageo deal will not provide $100 or $200 million of revenues to the territory. That's a mathematical impossibility under the terms of the contract. And I testified before the legislature in 2008, not opposing rum production. I do not oppose rum production in the Virgin Islands for sale on the U.S. mainland. That can work for us if it is structured correctly. The administration touts that we'll get $100 to $200 million a year, and that's just virtually not possible. The plant, the company is telling you that in 30 years out, it will produce 15 million gallons of rum annually for its North American market, Canada, the U.S., Mexico, Central America. It's probably selling about 5 million now in the U.S. mainland. The Congress provides anywhere from $10.50 to $13 a proof gallon for rum. Then you simply do the math, and then you have to subtract. You have to subtract out what the terms and conditions of the contract is, which has many Virgin Islanders very upset. We give them about 47% off of the top of any monies that are returned to the territory. We literally pay all of the costs for the molasses and, for rum production, not only for sale on the U.S. mainland, but sale on foreign ports. We pay $250 million to finance the cost of the construction of the plant, as well as pay the salaries and benefits of the managers and employees of the Diageo Corporation while the plant is being constructed, as well as set aside working capital. We give them 100% tax exemptions across the board, including tax exemptions on sales to the foreign ports. And so we reimburse them for their charitable giving. At the end of the day, the government of the Virgin Islands, if you use the 15 million gallons today, at the end of the day, if all things went well, the Virgin Islands would walk away with about $60 million at $13.25, and the Diageo Corporation would walk away about $140 million, not including their tax exemptions. And so, we raised those concerns before the legislature in 2008, and of course talked about its detriment. Every governor of the territory since 1954 has done their best, whether they were Republicans, Democrats, Independents, to protect the Internal Revenue Matching Fund, the return of the matching fund dollars to the territory, because those monies are used for building schools, roads, port facilities, hospitals, etc. This is the first time in our history that the program is under onslaught by members of Congress. The U.S. Senate has refused to renew our extender, giving us $13.25, so we're down at $10.50 per proof gallon. That's a $23 million loss annually to the territory. So it's just the difference in this campaign is about how we manage the resources of the territory and how we invest either our resources into our people to provide them with opportunity and marketable skills, or we provide this philosophy that simply finance the ideas and projects of the private sector, and in the end, a better life and a better quality of life will trickle down to the rest of the territory.
You've been endorsed by at least two former governors. Your opponent has been endorsed by Barack Obama, who is still very popular in the islands, even though maybe not across the rest of the country. So
I suspect that the influence of the governors who live in the territory among the people and meet the everyday challenges of our community, the high cost of living, and the crime and violence in the community will carry its weight with respect to the presidential endorsement. I have tremendous respect for President Obama, and I look forward to working with him on issues affecting the territory in the very near future. And the president has been very clear in going across the country and supporting members of his party in difficult races. And the endorsement that came through the DNC from the president, albeit, is another one of those endorsements. And I don't know that President Obama need lose his popularity for the people of the Virgin Islands, for the people of the Virgin Islands to understand that the current governor is simply not managing their affairs and their resources in a manner that can improve the quality of life in this territory for the majority of the people that live here.
Now, I know with the eve of this race still upon you, we might be stepping into some dangerous territory here. But in following this race, I have to tell you, I can't tell the difference between the newspapers and press releases. Now, I've read the various accounts of the last debate that took place, and it seems like the papers, the media agencies there, have taken sides, which seems unusual for me as what I would call a mainland journalist.
Right.
Has this been a recent development, or is it just something?
We've seen it more profound now than before. I mean, for example, the One Source entity is owned by one of the operatives in the de Jongh Francis campaign, and the editor of the One Source, Ms. Pennington, hobnobs around and travels with the First Lady to, as far away places as Rwanda as a personal friend. So, the writings in the source are going to be slanted because it advances the cause and interest of the folks there. That doesn't sway the people of the territory. I mean, I think, like across the board in the U.S. mainland, newspaper circulations are horribly down. People get their information from a variety of sources, and those kinds of stories excite the base of the people that they're advancing, but don't do much more to sway anybody.
Mr. Kenneth Mapp, thank you for taking the time out of your busy campaign as it wraps up, and we'll be looking forward to the results.
Thank you so much.